What would happen if you unleashed 1 million rabbits in a dead desert? It sounds like the start of a bad joke, or maybe an ecological horror story. A desperate, maybe even insane gamble. For years, a story has been making the rounds online. A modern legend about how China did exactly that in its 7th largest desert, the Kubuki. The tale claims this wild experiment, which any expert would have called a guaranteed catastrophe, didn't just work. It created a multi-billion-dollar oasis. It says they turned a sea of sand into a green paradise and shocked the entire scientific world. It's a stunning story, it's inspiring, and it's almost completely wrong. The real story behind the transformation of the Kubuki Desert is far more complex, more challenging, and in the end, even more remarkable than the myth of the rabbit army. To understand what really happened, we have to go back to a time when this desert was known by a different, more fitting name, the Sea of Death. Before its transformation, the Kubuki Desert was an environmental disaster in slow motion. Spanning around 18,600 square kilometers, it was a vast expanse of shifting sand dunes. For centuries, human activities like overgrazing had stripped the land of its plants, leaving the sand hostile and untethered. This wasn't a quiet wasteland. It was an aggressive, expanding force. The desert is located in Inner Mongolia, about 800 kilometers west of Beijing, and it was one of the major sources of the suffocating sandstorms that would regularly sweep across northern China, including the capital. Life on its fringes was a daily battle against the encroaching sand. Poverty was everywhere, and many people became ecological migrants, forced to abandon their homes as the dunes swallowed everything. While the United Nations didn't officially label it a permanent dead zone, it was recognized as a place facing one of the world's most severe desertification challenges, a lost cause in many people's eyes. This was the reality, a dying land that threatened to consume everything in its path. A solution was desperately needed, but it wasn't going to come from a magic bullet or a furry, long-eared savior. A green wall built by hand. The image of 1 million rabbits fertilizing a desert is powerful. It's also completely made up. There is zero credible evidence from any organization involved in the project, including the UN, that a mass release of rabbits was ever part of the strategy. In reality, an uncontrolled rabbit population would have been an ecological nightmare, just like Australia's infamous rabbit plagues, eating any tiny plant that dared to sprout. The true solution was less fantastical, but way more impressive. It was a story of human persistence, clever engineering, and a decades-long war against the sand, led by a Chinese company called Elian Resources Group, in partnership with the government and local communities. The work began back in 1988, not with rabbits, but with something far more basic: stopping the sand from moving. The first challenge was huge. A road built to transport resources was being repeatedly buried by shifting dunes, crippling the local economy. The workers realized they couldn't just build over the sand. They had to pin it down. They started by creating massive checkerboard grids across the dunes using straw. These simple, low-tech barriers broke the wind's power right at the surface, holding the sand in place just long enough for the next step. With the ground temporarily stable, the planting began. This was a highly scientific operation. They used resilient plant species like licorice root, which has deep roots that bind the soil. To get these saplings into the unstable sand, engineers developed a game-changing technique, using high-pressure water jets to blast a hole and plant a seedling in just 10 seconds. This new method dramatically boosted the survival rate of the saplings, with some reports claiming it jumped from under 20% to over 80%. For more than 30 years, thousands of local farmers and herders became ecological workers, planting trees and shrubs across thousands of square kilometers. This was a grueling, generational effort. They were literally building a green wall, one plant at a time, turning back a tide of sand with sheer force of will and brilliant innovation. The technological miracle, farming the sun. As the green barriers took hold, a new, high-tech phase of the restoration began, one that would provide both power and protection. The Kubuki Desert gets intense, unrelenting sunlight, making it a perfect spot for solar energy. But the vision here went beyond just making power. It led to the rise of agrivoltaics, a genius combination of agriculture and photovoltaic energy. The most iconic symbol of this is the Junma solar power station. Junma means fine horse, and seen from above, nearly 200,000 solar panels are arranged in the breathtaking image of a galloping horse. The installation is so vast, it even holds a Guinness World Record. While some viral stories inflate its capacity, its real-world construction scale is around 200 megawatts, a massive achievement in renewable energy. But these panels do more than just make electricity. They're a key part of the ecological restoration. The rows of panels act as a shield for the fragile ground beneath them. They reduce wind speed, stop soil erosion, and provide shade, which lowers ground temperatures and drastically cuts down on water evaporation. This creates a friendly microclimate, allowing hardy herbs and crops to be planted between and under the panels. Some projects have even pioneered systems where the water used to clean dust off the panels is channeled to irrigate the plants below, creating an amazing cycle of efficiency. The real transformation, a multi-billion-dollar oasis. So what did all these decades of hard work actually achieve? The transformation is staggering, even without the make-believe rabbits. Over 30 years, more than 6,000 square kilometers of the desert have been reclaimed, an area covering roughly 1/3 of the entire Kubuki. Studies have confirmed a major greening trend across the desert, with the once barren yellow landscape now woven with huge patches of green. The environmental impact has been profound. The green belts act as a massive natural barrier, contributing to a reduction in the frequency and intensity of sandstorms affecting nearby regions, though other factors across North China also play a role. Economically, the Kubuki model has become a global benchmark for how to make conservation pay. This isn't a charity project, it's a sustainable business. The cultivation of licorice, a medicinal plant that thrives in arid soils, created a valuable cash crop sold around the world. This industry didn't just generate money, it also improved the soil because licorice is a nitrogen-fixing plant. Ecotourism is also emerging, with visitors coming to see the green desert, bringing new income to local communities that opened restaurants and inns. When you add up the value of the restored ecosystem, the profits from industries like solar power and agriculture, and the value of things like carbon sequestration, the total worth is enormous. While a single $10 billion figure is hard to verify, reports from organizations like the UN Environment Program have estimated the project's value in the billions of dollars. Crucially, this economic model has lifted tens of thousands of local people out of poverty, giving them stable jobs that were unimaginable when the sand ruled their lives. Life returns with a dose of reality. When an ecosystem begins to heal, life returns. The restored parts of the Kubuki are now home to a growing number of plant and animal species. Some reports have cited a tenfold increase in species in the area. Migratory birds, once absent, have been seen returning to the newly greened land. a clear sign that a functioning ecosystem is re-emerging from the sand. But this is where the myth often gets carried away again. Some sensationalist stories claim that top predators like snow leopards have returned to the Kubuki. This is, without a doubt, false. Snow leopards are magnificent creatures of high-altitude, rocky mountains. Their appearance in a lowland sandy desert like Kubuki is biologically impossible and has never been documented. This small detail is important. It highlights the difference between an inspiring true story and a misleading fantasy. The return of birds, insects, and small mammals to the Kubuki is a monumental achievement all on its own. It proves the restoration is working. We don't need to invent impossible predators to make the story incredible. The verifiable truth that a complex food web is beginning to re-establish itself in a former sea of death is miraculous enough. The story of the million rabbits of Kubuki speaks to our love for simple, elegant solutions to giant problems. It's a parable that just feels right, but the truth is more complicated and far more valuable. The project proves that we can reverse desertification and reclaim lands once considered lost forever. The secret wasn't a biological fluke, it was a blueprint for the future.